Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Java Technologies Private Limited. In today's session, we'll try to see what are variables in Java and what are the different types of variables we have in Java. So let's get started. What is a variable in Java? A variable is a container which holds a value when the Java program is executed. So basically, variables are used for storing a value inside it. In Java, we have three types of variables. So first one, we call it as a local variable. Second one, we call it as an instance variable. And the third one, we call it as a class variable, or we can simply say static variable. So variables that are declared or defined inside the method is called as a local variable. And the scope of that variable is within that method. We cannot access to that variable outside of the method. So those kind of variables, we call them as local variables. So let's see one small example on local variables. So I have created one Java program. So program name, I have given it as local example. Now inside this program, I have created two methods. So first method name, I have given it as sum. In front of this method name, I'm trying to keep a keyword called as void. Means when the user is trying to call to this sum method, for the user, this method is not returning any value. So void means it will never return any value. Then in front of this void keyword, I'm trying to keep an access specifier something called as public. Means this method can be accessed from the same program, or this method can be accessed from outside of the program. So that is nothing but your public access specifier. Now, after the method name, in the parenthesis brackets, I have taken two arguments. First argument is called as x, and the second argument is called as y. Means when the user is trying to call to the sum method, from the user, this method is trying to expect, or this method is expecting two inputs, and both the inputs should be of type integer data type. For example, when I'm trying to call to this sum method, let's assume like I'm passing two values. First value as 10 and second value as 20. Then 10 will be stored under your x and 20 will be stored under your y. Then inside this method, now I'm trying to define int z is equal to x plus y. Now if you see, I tried to create a variable called as z, which is of type integer data type within this sum method. So this z variable is called as a local variable. Now I'm trying to say int z is equal to x plus 5. So x is holding a value something called as 10 and y is holding a value something called as 20. So 10 plus 20, 30. The result 30 will be stored inside your z variable. Then in the next statement, I'm simply trying to say system.out.println. So whenever you want to print something onto your console, in that scenario, we are going to make use of a statement called as system.out.println. And in double quotes, I'm simply trying to say addition of two numbers. So whatever we keep inside double quotes, that will be printed as it is on the console. So we are trying to say addition of two numbers. Then along with this message, I want to print something else. So keeping a plus symbol, then I said z. Now z is a local variable which is holding a value something called as 30. That 30 will be printed on the console. Then I have written one more method with name something called as subtract method. Then again in front of this method, I'm trying to keep a keyword something called as void. Means when the user is trying to call to this subtract method, for the user, this method is not going to return any result. Void means it will never return any result. Then again, in front of this void keyword, I'm trying to keep an access specifier something called as public. Means this method can be called from the same program or it can be called from a different program. Now, inside this method, again, I want to print something onto the console. So I am trying to say system.out.println. Then in double quotes, I'm simply trying to say, let's test the local variable. Now, after this statement, now let us try to keep a plus and a z. So I'm trying to keep plus z. Now, whenever I try to say plus z, automatically it started giving you the compilation error. So why we are getting the compilation error? Because so z is a local variable. So it is defined inside this sum method. So within this sum method, you can access to this variable any number of times. Okay, getting my point, guys? So z is a local variable which is defined inside this sum method. So you can access to this variable within this method any number of times. But if you try to access to this variable outside of this method, then it started giving you the compilation error. Okay, guys. So in order to resolve the issue, so let us try to remove this variable. Okay, then now let us try to understand the real flow, how it happens. So whenever you try to compile your Java program and whenever we try to run your Java program, always the control comes to the main method. So inside the main method, I want to create an object to our class. So what is your class name? So class name is local example. So I am trying to say local example. Any reference variable name we can take. So here I am trying to take the reference variable as L is equal to new local example. So whenever we try to create an object to the class, inside your class, what all the different types of methods you have and what all the different types of arguments you have, all of them will get loaded into the memory. Once they got loaded into the memory, now you know the method names and you know the reference variable name. So simply we can call to the methods by saying your reference variable dot method name. So my reference variable is L. So I'm trying to say L dot method name is sum. So I'm trying to say L dot sum. Now if you look at the sum method, it is having two arguments and both the arguments are of type integer data type. So I'm trying to say L dot sum and then I'm passing a value called as 10, 20. Now from line number 15, the control will transfer to your line number 5 and it starts executing the sum method. When it is executing the sum method, in X, it stores a value something called as 10, and in Y, it stores a value something called as 20. Then inside this method, we are trying to say int Z is equal to X plus Y. So X is holding a value called as 10, and Y is holding a value something called as 20. So 10 plus 20, 30 will be stored back into your Z. Then in the next statement, simply by using this system.out.println statement, we are trying to say addition of two numbers and printing the value of Z. Now, after executing line number 7, there are no more statements to execute. Then this entire sum method got executed. So from line number 8, the control will go back to your line number 15. So now line number 15 got executed completely. In the next statement, we are trying to say L dot subtract method. So we are trying to call to the subtract method. So from line number 16, the control will transfer to your line number 10 and it starts executing your subtract method. Now inside this subtract method, simply we are trying to keep one sysout statement saying like system.out.println and then we are simply trying to say let's test the local variable that will be printed as it is on the console. After printing this on the console, there are no more statements to execute. Means your entire subtract method got executed. So from line number 12, again the control will go back to your main method. After executing line number 16, there are no more statements to execute, then the program is going to be terminated in the same mode. So let us try to run the program and let's see the output. So simply right click on your program, say run as Java application. Now if you see on the console, it says addition of two numbers as 30 and it says let's test the local variable. So addition of two numbers 30 is getting printed from your sum method and let's test the local variable. It is getting printed from the subtract method. That's it for the today's session, guys. See you in the next session. Bye bye. For latest updates on job openings and new upcoming batches, you people can always follow us on our Facebook page, which is Java Online Training. And you people can also follow us on our Instagram page, which is instagram.com/javtopustech. That's it for this session, guys. See you in the next session. Bye bye.